thank you for your help for my professional development in integrating technology with teaching mathematics and whatever it is.
Oh, you are very welcome. It's been a pleasure to have you here and join us in class and have interesting conversations with you.
Yeah, and my topic is on teaching mathematics with technology, especially using some open source resources. And you, as a professor, I am lucky that I got a professor like you for my audit class, because it is something really different. And for the first time, I am seeing such type of class where technology integration is done with practical, theory and practical was going hand in hand. So would you please explain how you look at the teaching of mathematics using technology?
Oh, yes. Well, I think technology has great potential. We have been very, I would say, slow in adapting and using technology in the classroom, because there is this fear that technology may harm students, that students are not going to learn if they have access to technology that can do the calculations for them. And I think that's not an issue. I think the problem is how you integrate the technology. There are ways to use technology to actually support students' understanding and support the learning of mathematics. And so the type of technologies that I like are technologies that actually allow students to explore mathematics with technologies. Some examples are what is generically called as dynamic software, and there is dynamic software for geometry, there is for probability and statistics, there is also for algebra and functions. In particular cases are things like Desmos or Geometer's Sketchpad or GeoGebra. This is software that students can use to tackle very interesting explorations of mathematical problems. And when they are using these tools, the software helps in many ways. It allows them to have access to multiple representations of the same mathematical ideas. And we know from research that the more connections the students can make between these different representations, the stronger their mathematical understanding is going to be. Software allows them to see what is the effect of changing something in a given representation. What is the effect into another representation? For example, if you change this coefficient here in a function, what is the impact on the graph? And to have a tool that allows you to do that easily, for example, with a slider that you can drag, actually it helps a lot to see the cause and effect. I'm changing this and I'm seeing what happens here. In the case of dynamic geometry, for example, to have software that allows you to do constructions in a way that you can see what remains invariant as far as geometric properties. It's also helpful because it allows students to focus on what is that defines a given geometric relationship, because those are things that are remaining constant. For example, when you're dragging a shape from a point or from a side, and allows you to be able to make conjectures and test those conjectures. And then it is actually the precursor of proof, because then now it gives you the challenge of, okay, this looks like it's working for
Yeah.
all cases. Can I now prove it? Can I come up with a way to prove this? So I really think technology has a lot of potential, and that there are very interesting uses of technology that we need to take advantage of in the classroom today.
Now, how the new generation student teachers, those who want to be teachers, how do they look at this type of technology usage? The new
Well,
generation teachers.
I think future teachers are in a strange position. They are more open to use technology because they are growing up in a world that uses technology. But at the same time, many of them haven't really yet experienced the use of technology in their own learning. They haven't gone through classrooms where their instructors have used technology in this way. So in one sense, they are more open to the use of technology, but still, because they haven't experienced those uses of technology, it's really hard for them to visualize what's possible. And that's why one of the things I do in my classes is to try to help them experience that, help them experience learning with technology in ways that they could later incorporate in their own teaching. And so I encourage them to create lessons where they use technology. But again, many times their first ideas of how to use technology are very limited. They tend to go for uses of technology where technology maybe is used to save time because it does lots of calculations for you. But those are not the richest ways to use technology. I mean, it is great to use it to save time, but I think it is more important to use it to help students have this kind of reorganizing of their ideas, where they finally see things in a new way, they see things in a different way. And that's the most powerful, I think, use of technology, when it is helping you come to a new realization of, okay, I now understand what's behind this mathematical idea. And so when they create their lessons, I meet with them before they teach their lessons, we have conversations, and I challenge them, okay, I see how you're using the technology here in this way, and it's great, but can you think of a more powerful way to use it? And sometimes it's hard, but eventually they get it, and they say, okay, yeah, I'm going to try it, I'm going to try that. And it is an interesting process. I wouldn't say that when they finish their programs, they are now experts in the use of technology, because that takes time. But I think at least they now have an idea of where to go. They have an idea of what is possible, and they are more open to try those things.
Okay. Now, I was really fortunate to be in your class. It is designed really very sequentially and all. Now, how do you design a class? It's little more, I mean, it's a question of a teacher who would like to teach another teacher, because generally I used to go for training the teachers.
Mm-hmm.
So in that perspective, I would like to ask you how you make a plan for a total paper, for a total class.
Right. Well, yeah, that's also a challenge, because I mean, this class that I'm teaching right now, it's a methods class. It's a class where they are going to be trained on how to teach mathematics in high school. Now, if you think about the high school curriculum, there are many subject areas that they are going to need to teach. They are going to need to teach algebra, geometry, probability and statistics, calculus, analytic geometry. So how do you in one semester can do justice to all of these topics? That's very difficult. And the other problem is that there is actually a lot of research on how to specifically teach each of these content areas. I mean, there is not just like a blanket recommendation. This is how you teach mathematics in high school. But there are many important topics that you need to address. So one of the things I try to do is to help them become familiar with resources about that they can go back to in the future if they want to learn more about how to teach those specific topics. And so I try to work with them on general principles for teaching mathematics that are good principles. I try to help them experience good lessons for different content areas. And I try to give them the tools and the resources so that they can continue growing professionally on their own in their future once they are in the classroom and they know where to go to for resources and they know where to go to for continue growing.
How come technology is an area of interest to Professor Galindo?
Well, yeah, I think that's an interesting question. I have an analogy that I use sometimes, and I don't know why we are so reluctant sometimes to the use of technology in education, whereas we are not in other areas. Imagine that you go to a doctor and you have two possibilities. You go to one doctor using no technology. He puts his hands on your body and tries to diagnose you and say, oh, I think maybe you have a brain tumor. I can feel it. And compare that to going to a doctor that will send you to get some technology-based scans and a way to use technology to look inside your body and try to help with the diagnostic. I think most people will go with the use of technology, and we do that in all other areas of our life. We try to take advantage of technology. So I don't know why we are sometimes reluctant to the use of technology in education. I think we need to take advantage of that. It is a very important tool. It can really help amplify your thinking, and so to me it's a no-brainer. There shouldn't be a debate about whether we use it or not.
That's a great example given. True. And here in the US, what are the technologies the teachers generally use? Number one, do they create their own study materials using technology, using something really different? Or, I mean, there may be sure some teachers doing that, but what are the technology they are using in the US for making mathematics teaching more effective?
I think it varies a lot. It depends on the place. Different states have different levels of integration of technology. I think graphing calculators are used a lot in high schools over the country. And little by little, we see other uses of technology, like the dynamic technology that I mentioned at the beginning. I don't think we could say that there is a norm right now in this country, because different states, different school districts have their own autonomy to make some decisions. We cannot say that this is what is used everywhere. I think the integration of technology is a gradual process, and teachers need to learn about it. It is more likely that teachers will use technology if it is integrated in their textbooks that they are using. Because, I mean, teachers are busy people.
Yeah, they may not be expert.
Even if you want, you may not have the time or the expertise to create your own materials. And I think the more that textbooks begin integrating uses of technology, it will be more likely that more teachers are going to use it.
Yeah, I interviewed almost 15 teachers throughout this country, and almost all of them, they're using Desmos.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that word Desmos I got from your class. So thank you so much. I was really interested when I gone through, and there are a lot of lessons made by them. It's available free of cost internet.
Yeah.
So I think if the teachers are using it properly, it will be really good. That's one thing which I learned. Next, very important question which is pertaining to my country, India. The main problem there in our country is the availability of internet facility.
Yes.
It's not available everywhere. Now things are going on, things are changing rapidly. So what is your suggestion to the mathematics teachers of my country?
Well, I think, that's a challenge, but I think there are resources that you can get on the internet, but you can download to your computer. And so finding resources where you don't need to be connected to the internet all the time, I think can be a way to overcome that challenge. And I think, I hope it's just a matter of time that I think most countries are trying to do what they can to be connected and to allow everybody to be connected. So I think it will be a matter of time. But in the meantime, looking for ways to use resources that you can download and they now reside on your computer or your device and don't need to be connected to the internet.
Yeah, that's what the Desmos need an internet connection.
Yes.
But GeoGebra doesn't need that.
Right.
GeoGebra, you can download it and then use it.
Yes.
So in India, maximum teachers are using GeoGebra,
Right.
which is really good software to be downloaded in your laptop and then use it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this type of things we'll have to take.
That would be a way to.
Is here in US, the students go to the teacher or the class.
I'm sorry?
Teacher, it is Mrs. Holik's class.
Oh, the
or
teachers have their own class. Right?
Yeah, his class.
Right.
So it is not, we have class 9th, class 10th, teachers go to class. Here the students go to the teachers. The class goes to the teacher. It is really good because the teacher can prepare herself before the students come, making everything ready, waiting for the students. And they will also have a change from one class to another class. They will walk, have a chat,
yes, it's a good...
make themselves ease and then come to the class. This is really good. I am thinking at least 1 or 2 classes in my school to
do that, try that. Yeah.
To try this out. So I only need is I have to find out the teacher who can do really well. I'll give 1 class to him or her.
Yeah.
This is your class. Students will come to you. And the things which I learned from the US, I'll show them. I have gone to a lot of schools. I have videographed. I'll show that these are the things the teachers are doing there. Why don't we do it? I'll give you all the facilities you want.
Right.
So this is one thing I'm going to carry from US too.
I will be interested in hearing from you once you have a chance to try some things and learn how they work. And then another dream would be to visit your school sometime.
Of course, that will be a big day for all of us because I always try to bring people from outside the system and give their comments and their suggestions. That will really help, and great professors like you, I'm sure that we'll be meeting in India. Let's be very hopeful, because now we talked a lot of plus points of using ICT or technology in teaching. There are a lot of, negativities also for every positive things what we do. What is your opinion about using technology to sometimes, may not get the required outcome, or is there any problem in using technology?
Well, I think the problems result from uses when people don't know what they are doing. So sometimes there is this tendency to adopt the latest technology just because it is the latest technology. But if you haven't carefully planned and reflected on how is that it's going to be helping your teaching goals, your learning goals, then there may be that's when the negative can happen. So I think when we rush to use technologies that we really don't know much about them, we really haven't tried them, it's when problems may happen. So I don't think the negative is inherent in the technology, but it's rather if there was no careful planning, if there were no learning goals that you had in mind, and you carefully thought how that technology was contributing to those learning goals, I think that's when the problems happen. So for example, many teachers or parents will say that they are worried about students becoming dependent on the technology. And I think that's the result of teaching in the same way when you have the technology. So you actually need to change your content, your curriculum, if you're using technology. You cannot keep asking the same questions. Like if you ask a question in an exam or in a quiz that the calculator can answer, that's no longer a question for that classroom. You need to change how you assess understanding if you're going to have the technology. And so I don't think it's the technology's fault if the students become dependent. I think it's our fault as teachers and educators because we're not changing the curriculum. We keep asking the same questions, and we need to change that. And so, yes, there are risks, there are possible negatives, but I think they are the result of either rush implementation or not careful planning.
Yeah, using the technology for technology's sake.
Exactly, yes. Yeah.
Thank you so much,
You're
sir.
very welcome.
It's a wonderful interaction, and being the faculty advisor of my inquiry project, I got a lot of ideas and resources from you. I thank you very much for that, and next 4th I have the presentation. I think you might have received the message from December.
Yes,
Yeah.
I did.
So I'll be eagerly waiting, and before that I'll be sending my project to you for your comments. That
Okay.
also will be great. Thank you so much. And do you have any advice to me? I'll go back and I can do something for being a teacher, a mathematics teacher with you. So do you have any advice to me as a mathematics teacher?
Well, I think that it's clear that you're very excited about technology and want to share this with your teachers at your school. I think you will be more successful in getting them to adopt these new ideas if you allow them to experience them. And rather than telling them you need to do this, I think it would be best if you help them see the advantages and experience them, and then they are more likely to be open to use them. But I'm sure you you have already thought about it.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.